But if you would like to see Sharon Stone's boobs, she went and did Playboy like right after this, so you can see her boobs. Welcome to Terrible Boys Podcast. I'm your host Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who's totally not an undercover spy. It's Jeremy.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, indeed. With me in third chair is the boy who's currently planning on a much safer vacation to Saturn. It's Ryan.
Nudge, nudge.
So you're saying you're not going to Saturn, Ryan?
I'm saying anything. You know what? That's for everybody to decide at the end of this review.
Speaking of for everyone to decide, we're going to be having a lot of discussions about that today.
You betcha. Counting on this.
So today we're covering the hit Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, 1999's Total Recall. Not to be confused with the reboot, which was awful. So we reviewed the good one. Ryan, who directed this movie?
Paul Verhoeven, director of RoboCop.
Yep, this is actually the movie directed right after RoboCop.
Is it
Two
really?
bangers.
Yeah, he had like a huge gap.
Anyone in between?
That's why it feels like really RoboCop-y, and the structure of the villains is pretty much the same.
Why Dick Jones from RoboCop is the bad guy in this one too.
Yep. But before we get into that, this movie, 113 minutes long. The budget was between 48 and 80 million, so kind of a widespread, but it was a smash success in the box office, 261.4 million.
I can see why.
Yeah, because it's a damn good movie.
Yes, sir, it was.
But Jeremy, go ahead and give your first thoughts.
Boy, Sharon Stone was really in her prime, wasn't she? God damn. Aside from that, I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
We'll be talking more about Sharon Stone once we get to a very specific segment. But until then, Ryan, first thoughts?
It's hard to compete with Jeremy's Sharon Stone lead in, but it's the movie from my youth. I was 8. This came out. Did not go see it in the theater. I really enjoyed it, although it did feel like I did some mind-altering substances and accidentally popped in Inception. But overall, a good movie.
So they're spoiling, kind of alluding to what we're gonna eventually get to. Jeremy, have you seen this movie before?
Negative. I'm surprised I haven't.
Yeah, that's the same with me. This is the very first time I've seen this movie, and it was one of those movies I knew that I'd enjoy. This is like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime.
Indeed.
And we're lucky that we got Schwarzenegger because the script for this movie had been like rolling around since the 70s. They didn't expect it. Well, they expected it was going to cost a lot of money, so that's why it took decades to finally get a movie made. And they were going through like a whole bunch of different actors like Patrick Swayze. Eventually, they went with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But in the original plan for the movie, Quaid was supposed to be a accountant, but do you really believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger could be an accountant?
That's why they gave him a jackhammer. Specifically to flex.
I, I think he's an accountant in Jingle All the Way now that I think about it.
No
Can't wait to
shit.
review that movie.
Oh, yeah. We were going to review it during Christmas last year, but Urkel came out and it's got pushed to this upcoming year. So expect that here. But yeah, this movie it blew me away. It's such peak, like, it's not 80s because it was made in 1990, but it still has that feel to it. Just like
Definitely has that feel.
general action movie. But Jeremy, what do you love most about it?
There's actually a few things. Like the comedy, the quippy one-liners, the action was great. The cast was phenomenal. And I thought the story as a general was good.
Ryan?
Visuals, also the cast. I'm a sucker for an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Story was good. I think I'll stop there.
Fair enough. Yeah, the story is just so good in this. You want to be in this situation, but for anyone who's not familiar with the movie, basically, Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Quaid, who's lives a boring construction worker life on Earth, and he ends up going to a kind of a futuristic vacation thing called Total Recall. Well, it's just called Recall. The movie's called Total Recall. But Recall, they end up putting like memories into your head, and he goes with some secret agent fantasy, but before he can have the memories implanted in his head, finds out that he actually is a secret agent, so has to go to Mars and fight with the Resistance to take down the evil, crazy CEO guy of the movie.
Ah, you beat me to it. You beat me to it, damn it.
This isn't a Marvel movie, Jeremy.
This is where Marvel felt like it got inspiration from this.
That's an inside joke, by the way, viewers at home. Now, I do have to ask since I've already mentioned it. Jeremy, did you ever see the reboot?
I have not.
Ryan?
No, that reboot doesn't exist to me.
Okay. Fair enough, I haven't either.
Sounds
It
like,
only
we're
happened
not gonna
after
see
I
it.
took the recall program.
You know that one of these days, like some actual like recall company is gonna pop up because they're gonna have the technology to do that shit.
Implanting memories. That would be wild. I like the idea.
That
Give me some good memories. I've
yeah
had plenty of shitty ones my whole life.
yeah.
I'll take some good ones.
That's it was cheap too. Like Arnold's like little spy thing. It was like only like 200, $300, and you just go to the office and spend like an hour in there, and you're all done.
A brand new you.
Probably feel all relaxed. Probably go in there once a day and do that.
I would be going often.
Now, something I loved in the movie was just the over the top violence in the movie.
That's an Arnold standard, I feel.
Yeah, well, I mean that's 80s and I guess early 90s type thing, but yep.
You just don't get fun movies like this with over the top violence anymore.
Like I just loved just like one of the scenes where Arnold's like fighting with which scene was it where he's fighting with like all these like tools and stuff. Oh, it was whenever at the end of the movie where they're trying to brainwash him in the recall thing, and he's like sticking like these sharp tools throughout like the scientists' heads and stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it was gonna be that violent until I started seeing it in the very beginning. I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this. I miss movies like this. It's always fun to watch Arnold rage on screen.
Really gets the adrenaline pumping.
It sure does. And
To
you
watch
gotta
and
love
to
those.
hear him rage.
That's part of the experience. That's part of the Arnold experience. Got to have those expressions. Those expressions are killer.
It's probably another reason why the reboot did so badly. Just not the same without Arnold. But honestly, I think they took like the RoboCop reboot approach where they just made it way too serious. And something like this, you've got to add like a comedy element. I mean, the story in this is serious, but you know, it's a special kind of silly where it's believable.
A lot of one-liners.
Speaking of one-liners, Jeremy, what was your favorite?
Ooh, man, that's tough. I liked it when he finally killed Benny and he yelled "Screw you" while he killed him with the drill gun. And then if I had one other favorite, it would be when he killed Lori, when she was asking if you would do this to your wife or whatever. And he's like, "Consider it the divorce."
Oh, that's Schwarzenegger's like most famous line. You think it's "I'll be back" or "Hasta la vista, baby"? But nope, it's the divorce line.
That one got me off guard. That's probably my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite, followed by the other one, easily.
Also, the divorce line.
Okay, you're going with the generic option. Well,
It's great. It was the best one.
my absolute favorite is gonna be the whenever the final fight against Richter. Like right after he gets like his arms chopped off in the elevator, and he's like falls to his death. And Quaid's like, "See you at the party, Richter."
Okay, that was a good one too.
It just came out of nowhere. And, I mean, it put some context in that scene I was talking about with the scientists gonna brainwash him. They were like, I'm not gonna ruin the twist of the movie because we'll talk about the twist here in a second. But they're supposed to all have like a party afterwards, so that's what that's to. But Jeremy, not giving any spoilers for anyone who really wants to watch this movie. No, normally we're spoiler boys. Did you see that twist coming? When did it surprise you?
About the specific twist you're talking about, no. The second twist, yes.
What about you,
What
Ryan?
about you, boys?
I want to say totally saw it coming because I want to sound like really smart on this podcast. But unfortunately, no, I did not see it coming.
Okay, well, I'll be a dumbass with you. I didn't see it coming at all. It's
Thank
like,
you.
that's pretty clever twist.
It was a great twist.
But that's just the great thing about the story of this movie is they can do twists like that and like, oh, it'll surprise
And
you.
heavy guessing. Heavy guessing a lot. Only in reference to the second twist with all the guessing.
Yep. And I know I talked about the violence a bit, but just to give you some context too, Originally, this was supposed to be an X-rated movie, but they had well, they got rated X, but they went in and trimmed down some of the violence and fights. Do you notice like some of the fights were like really camera angle jumpy? So they trimmed them down and they ended up getting an R rating.
Shame. It could have been X for so many better reasons. Sharon Stone, one of them.
Jeremy, are you getting at what I'm think you're getting at?
You know I am.
It's time for Boop Bonanza.
Yes.
So, what'd you boys think about the chick with the three boobs?
Are 3 better than 2?
That's
10 out of 10.
Ryan?
Well, it's always good to have a spare in case one pops. So, yeah, 10 out of 10.
They weren't implants, Ryan. I'm guessing I'm gonna have to be the odd boy out. I find like triple boobs weird. You know, whenever we watch Kung Pao, you had the chick with the one boob. I was like, okay, I could deal with that. But three boobs, I think that's one too many. And
Okay, so between 1 and 2 for you.
I'll take one or two. Or I'll take two pairs on my face. That's fine. But another fun fact for you: originally that chick was supposed to have four boobs, but they ended up pruning it down to three because they thought it looked too much like a cow's udder. Now, on top of that, for Boob Bonanza, Sharon Stone. Do we get to see her boobs in the movie?
Damn near.
Close, but no cigar.
I give that 11 out of 10.
Yeah,
My highest rating yet.
so that they wanted Sharon Stone to flash her boobs during the movie, but she didn't. But if you would like to see Sharon Stone's boobs, she went and did Playboy like right after this, so you can see her boobs. And that was another Boob Bonanza.
Always a good segment.
Really need like a jingle for Boo Bonanza.
But you know I've got that kazoo, but it sounded awful.
Gotta work on your kazooing. We do need a jingle.
Okay. Where's that damn thing at anyway? There it is. Okay. And it's all over the place now. Which end am I supposed to use? Like, there you go. Should Boob Bonanza.
Hey, there we go.
So I have to ask, what do you boys think of like the world building in this movie?
It was very vast. I didn't realize it was going to be so much, to be honest. Especially from the beginning. I didn't know planetary travel was a really big thing, and it got right into it.
Yeah, I knew going into this that there was like Mars involved, but they've got like the whole solar system set up, and like Mars isn't terraformed, but they've got domes and people vacation there. Same thing with Saturn. That was the point of the intro.
That's a cool idea. I love that idea.
Someday, Jeremy, but we'll probably be dead.
I'll be long expired.
Ryan, your thoughts?
Pretty much the same as Jeremy's. Pretty great world building in that thing. I would expect nothing less from Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah, that's the big thing with space. It's just as big. All right, it is time to address the elephant in the room. For anyone unfamiliar with Total Recall, just like Blade Runner, there is a huge theory with it. With Blade Runner, you've got the whole question of, is Deckard a replicant? When it comes to Total Recall, you're asking yourself, is any of this real? And
Such a fun question.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, too. The movie plays around with the question, too.
Yes, especially the end. God damn it, that drove me nuts.
Okay, you noticed it, too. So, okay. Hold on, I'm putting my kazoo away. I don't want to be playing with it. All right. So, Ryan, I'm going to start with you. Do you think all the secret agent stuff was a dream, or was it real?
And I wish you hadn't started with me, because this is what I hate about movies sometimes.
Interpretation.
Just spoon feed me the answer.
You know what? Usually
Go
I
ahead.
would agree with you. Like, I don't want to theorize if in The Outlaw Josie Wales if Clint Eastwood died at the end. Like, I want to answer to
Yeah.
that, but I think they do it well here.
They
Yeah.
do it well, and they tease it too.
So, Ryan, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with yes, I think it's all a dream.
Jeremy, your opinion?
I would say that. However, there is one scene that made me question the whole thing throughout the movie, specifically when he first went to Recall and he kept insisting on going to Mars. The guy was very, very hesitant to let him go to Mars. That scene alone makes me think it's real,
Why
even
is
though
it?
they joke about it not being real.
Why is that?
Because I think the doctor or whatever the vacationist specialist
Salesman.
knew. Yes, exactly. Vacation salesman. There we go. I think he knew it would activate him, or at least bring back his memories if he went to Mars.
I think he would just
There was
turn.
hesitation.
There was hesitation. That really wasn't explained.
That's the only explanation I can come up with. I'm like, well, why didn't he want him to go to Mars? It wasn't even that expensive.
The only thing, yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to get at. Like, I don't know why the package was like so cheap. You think you want to charge the same amount for memories? So the only thing I can think of just to justify that is that the whole secret agent package is cheap, and he was trying to upsell Quaid.
In that instance, I see it's too debatable. I'm like
Yeah,
50
well,
50.
we're about to debate it, by the way. That's kind of what we're getting
Okay.
at.
Okay.
So I'm glad to see we have one boy who thinks it's real. Okay, but before we go any further, I think it was a dream, and I also follow the theory that I believe that Quaid got lobotomized at the end.
Okay. Can't wait to hear the explanation behind that.
All right. So Jeremy, do you have any other evidence that you'd like to present?
Not really. I mean, everything else except for that kind of leads me to think it's a dream. That's why I'm so split in between. And
It's
then, especially at the end too, what really it was a dream within a dream. Freaking Inception.
well, I mean,
God
the
damn
whole,
it.
the whole idea of this debate is to change minds. Like
Yep.
Ryan, you took it's a dream approach. Do you have any evidence you want to present before I present mine?
I don't have any evidence really. Mine is just this is based on another Philip K. Dick short story, and that just seems like his MO.
So you're just going with gut feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. Gut feeling, a little bit of outside knowledge. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna be the boy that presents all the evidence then. So first off, whenever Quaid goes to recall, if you remember, he starts freaking out in the chair, and they have to keep injecting him full of stuff to like get him to settle down. Before we go any further, the director has said that the first 20 minutes of this until he gets into total recall are 100% real. He has not commented on anything past that.
Ooh.
Now, why is Quaid having dreams about some lady on Mars? That is never answered if we follow the this is all a dream theory. So there's something to hang on to, Jeremy.
Okay. Yep.
So he gets in total recall, starts freaking out, and the salesman comes in and is like, okay, we need to get rid of him. So they get rid of him. And the big thing they mention is we're going to destroy all the records of him being here. So then, of course, he gets out, and then shenanigans ensue. So here's the thing: if you're implanting memory, if you remember, like right after he escapes, he's immediately confronted by his like coworker and some thugs, and his coworker attacks him with like guns. If you were implanting memories, would you really want a person to have memories of their friends being violent against you? That seems like kind of like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
All right. All right. I like where this is going.
Then we're gonna be jumping ahead a while in the movie. The big scene. Do you remember when Quaid kind of blows it after he goes to the whorehouse and he's back up his hotel room, and then the doctor comes in and is like, "Hey, I'm a doctor from Recall, and you're kind of in a dream right now."
Mm-hmm.
Here's some important stuff on this scene. What ends up happening is Quaid's like tells him is like, "Hey, I could kill you right now." He's like, why can't I just kill you right now? And then the doctor gives some explanation of like, hey, if you kill me, then you're rejecting that there's an outside world, and you're basically gonna end up lobotomized. In which Quaid kind of just waits and sees the guy sweating and kills him. So here's some important things about the doctor. If you remember, Recall destroyed all the records of Quaid being there. So how would anyone know that Quaid had that epileptic seizure, whatever it was called, unless the
Mm.
records were never destroyed because he was still in recall? Another important thing about that scene is the doctor does not have a reflection in a mirror.
You know,
He,
I didn't notice that.
yeah, it's kind of like a small fact that I was reading later. That
It's a
could point.
vampire.
It could. It's that, or it could point towards the fact that he's a traitor. But the idea I got from it was they needed to make something like an AI real quick that they could put in Quaid's head, and they didn't complete a reflection for him. And then whenever Quaid finally decides to kill him, he notices that the guy's sweating. So it could be like, yeah, I'm a traitor, But it all could also be in the real world. It's like, oh shit, we're gonna get the living suit out of us.
Yep. And see, I'm still half and half, but a little bit more towards it's real at this point. With these presented facts, it's getting good.
Now, the final scene. I think this is the biggest evidence that it was all a dream. So they activate the alien reactor. Quaid, start the reactor. And Melina and Quaid are on top of the mountain. And they even mentioned, like, could this be a dream? It's like, doesn't matter. Kiss me. And they kiss.
Yeah, that's why I
That's
was like, it's a goddamn dream. At that point, that's when I was starting to think, okay,
yeah.
maybe it's a dream.
So there's that bit of evidence, and then what happens? The sun starts getting brighter and brighter and brighter until you're left with only a empty white room, and the movie lingers on that like white room for like 10 seconds. That's why I believe he just got lobotomized because there is nothing left in his brain.
Damn it, that's some good facts. Just just with the especially the end scene and that lingering portion.
Yeah, people don't like. I paid really close attention to that end scene. I even
That
rewinded. It's
really,
like, wait, is that lingering on that empty room?
Cody, you made a believer out of me.
So
I
you
mean,
could,
I was already on the teetering on the edge anyway. It was just those small few facts, especially the one with the salesman that I was hanging on to. But I'm gonna say it's a dream.
that was another boys' debate, and Cody wins. First time we've ever done that, but
Congratulations on your first win.
I intend to rack up many more.
Oh, that's up for debate.
Yeah, this is. I mean, there's not a whole lot of movies you could do something like this with, but
I know this makes it really really fun because we can do it with this type of movie.
When are we going to review Inception?
Ooh,
oh, I mean, we can review it any time.
yeah.
So, I'm gonna ask Jeremy, favorite scene.
Honestly, the scenes where he was fighting Lori, eh, it was just goofy. It was very action oriented, but Arnold gets punched in the nuggies twice, and I was
He gets
getting
kicked
laughing my
once too.
yeah. Like Arnold's nuggies are the target of this movie. Like he gets hit in the nuts so many times.
It's effective.
It is effective, but and then of course after he shoots Lori and gives that wonderful one liner.
But you, Ryan?
You know how I'm a big fan of bad guys getting their comeuppance?
I was thinking that during the whole movie. It's like every villain gets like some form of comeuppance.
Yep. I'm going to go with Richter dying.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, like I said, that was when we give the "see at the party" Richter quote. It was just great. Although, I mean, to be a nitpicking boy, I don't think you're going to have your arms cut off like that. I think you're going to get mangled up in the stone and elevator. But whatever. Good movie. We're not nitpicking.
Which is a first for us.
I'll go out here, be a little bit different from you boys. I liked whenever Richter and all his men busted in the whorehouse and the little midget prostitute went and stabbed Richter's number two.
It was a great scene. Do you notice before they went into the whorehouse, there was a Jack in the Box sign? There's a Jack in the Box right next to the whorehouse.
I mean, where else would you find a Jack in the Box, Jeremy?
My thoughts exactly. But hey, have a great time, and you can go get your shitty Jack in the Box. Good all around.
And I have to say, they really did a good job, like humanizing like the mutants and the prostitutes in this movie. Like you really felt for them. You felt like they were real people. All right, and so before we wrap this up, it's time for some boys in action. So Jeremy,
All right.
if you were in this movie, where would you die?
When Arnold first started to rage, and they had to use that calming juice on him, they used one too many on me, and I just immediately lobotomized. I didn't even make it to the end. There was my white light.
That's a legitimate concern too, because too much anesthetic will kill someone.
Rest in peace, Michael Jackson.
I think Joan Rivers died that way too.
Fun fact: when I had surgery when I was 22, I had my tonsils removed and my nose bridge fixed. It was leaning a little too far for one side. That's the nasally voice. But anyway, the last thing I remember before I went into the operating room is they injected me, or they injected it into my IV, and the two nurses made a joke. They giggled and they're like, "Hey, this is what Michael Jackson overdosed on." That was my last memory.
Should have sued.
Missed opportunity.
Ryan, where would you die?
You know the part where he's assaulted by Lori?
Yeah,
I'd die there.
that's what I was thinking too. Because if you remember, she takes that knife and she's like slicing him up good, and
Yeah.
those wounds aren't like addressed throughout the movie. Like he has like his like arm slashed real deep and across the chest. That was gonna be my answer too. Yeah, I could probably beat my coworkers off. There's your clip take out of context.
I'd rather not think about it. Giggity, giggity, giggity.
But yeah, Laurie would definitely get me. Die from blood loss.
I would have just died from getting hit in the nugs.
Jeremy has very sensitive nugs.
Well, yeah, they got hit what, 4 times. Enough to take a man down.
All right, another boys in action. So Jeremy, final thoughts?
This is an absolutely great movie. I do have to only give one little criticism to it. Though. I was not a big fan of the romance between Melina and Quaid because it didn't make sense to me. Other than that, this is a great movie, worth watching. You will not be disappointed.
I think the reason it didn't make much sense was because she was kind of like she really knew Hauser,
Which
and
Hauser was the bad guy
yeah, well
that fought
Hauser,
against her cause that she was fighting for.
well she didn't know that at the time. He was kind of deep undercover, and then he went deeper undercover. So
But then she knew all of that and still loved him anyway. She's like, "Oh, you just destroyed everything, everything I fought for. It's okay, I still love you."
well he kind of fixed things. So it was a dream, Jeremy. That you don't think
It's
too
a dream.
much of it.
No, great movie though, fantastic. I loved every minute of it.
All right, Ryan, final thoughts.
Loved it. It's a classic. Ain't gonna nitpick.
That's one of us. But
Hey,
yeah.
I made it the whole way without nitpicking. That's a record.
Okay. But yeah, this is Terrible Boys Certified Fun. Definitely go watch it. Arnold, I'm not gonna say Arnold doesn't have some bad movies because he certainly does. So we'll be getting to that in a second. But this is when Arnold was just at the top, and some people will say this is one of Arnold's best movies, if not the best.
I can agree.
But he had a lot of faith in this movie. He worked really hard on it, and I know at one point it had like a really low like customer awareness, like home awareness. The people knew about the movie when it was in theaters, so he pushed it. He pushed like the people behind it to market more, and they eventually got it up to just about every household knew about it, and that's why it made so much money. All right, so it's time to scale this. Of course, like I just mentioned, we're gonna be talking about some Arnold movies because today we're gonna be using the Arnold scale. So Jeremy, on a scale of Terminator 2 to Batman and Robin, where would you rank this movie?
Whew. You know what? I don't remember much of Terminator 2. Which you know what? I don't remember too much of Batman and Robin either. Which one's the bad one?
Terminator 2 is
Batman and
the
Robin.
yeah. What kind of question is that? Like Terminator 2 is the classic one.
That is true.
One and two are really good. It's like I think it's after two where they drop the ball and everything afterwards.
Oh, that's what it is. That's when I fell off. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put it right underneath Terminator 2.
Ryan?
Same. There ain't no touching Terminator 2.
Yep. Terminator 2 is an iconic movie. I don't think it's possible to top that. So, just right under that. And before we close this out, Ryan, can we get the answer to your Saturn question?
What's the question?
Never mind.
I
All
must have
right,
missed that part.
you just forgot. Okay. Well, everyone, thank you for listening to episode Terrible Boys podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment telling us if it was a dream or not. And don't forget to ring that motherfucking bell. Stay tuned for more episodes.